Okay, it's 6 o'clock. It's time to call to order the Mount Pleasant Municipal Planning Commission meeting tonight. At this time, I'd ask you please stand, do the invocation, which will be done by Bobby Nudd, and pledge allegiance by John Hunter, please.
Dear God, thank you for this day that you allowed us to come together and meet as we all appreciate this great community which we live in, and appreciate the leaders of these departments that will be presenting this agenda to us tonight, and let us make good decisions and decisions that are directed toward you and the guidance of this community. May God be with the leaders across the nation. Let them continue to make decisions that are better directed toward you, and hopes of all the wars and the stress that's going on amongst the war, with all the rising prices and all the burdens that's putting on the people in the country. Dear God, we know there's people in the community that's hurting from sickness and health, and that have lost loved ones. And dear God, we want you to comfort them and let your will be done. Dear God, again, thank you for all the blessings that you give us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Granberry. Thank you. Let the minutes reflect we have all the commission in order tonight. Also, at this time, I'd like to invite our newest member tonight, Bobby Nutt, onto our board here, and we look forward to working with him and stuff. At this time, number 3, I'm looking for approval of agenda tonight.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number 4, approval of minutes prior meeting, April 12th, 2022.
I'll make a motion we approve those minutes.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, plat approvals.
There are none, Mr. Chair.
Number 6, rezoning request.
There are none, Mr. Chair.
Number 7, we have an annexation request. At this time, Rodney, I'll turn this to you.
Before you tonight is AR 05102022 AR1, a annexation request by applicant J. Jose from Harpers Valley Homes has submitted an annexation request for property located at 935 South Cross Bridges Road. The property is consisting of 115.6 plus or minus acres, being further identified on the tax map 127 parcel 20.00 and on file at Murray County Register of Deeds. The property is being proposed for future development. What's before you tonight, the piece of property is right here on the map.
It's called Perry's Place.
Called Perry's Place.
Yeah.
Right off South Cross Bridges, behind where these homes have already been developed. And the way these annexations work, Corey can speak more too, but the developer has to request to be annexed into the city. This is what's before y'all tonight.
So that's a new law in the last couple of years. It has to be owner occupied, request the annexation. And we've met with the developer a month or 2 ago and talked about what they wanted to do and what utilities are available, and said, we got other projects going on that are in the city, so if you want those same utilities available to you, it's better off probably that they're in the city, and they didn't make that request. But this is a very new process for us, so I'm going to have Corey kind of walk us through next steps on if we move forward to annex this 115 acres, the next process.
But all we can do is send with a favorable request to the city commission, correct?
And but it will come back to you eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
But at this time, when we do discuss, it's only
and the reason it's in front of you is because we got a favorable request from the commission saying pursue it and see what
I know.
the
I've
options
sat
are.
on this board a long time, and I told Rodney I've never seen a request for most of the time somebody's against
Right,
annexation, you
yeah.
know.
And then, and you can't do that anymore.
Right.
The law has changed.
So it's been on the agenda forever, but he always says, no, not on there. But so like Kate says, this is a annexation by owner consent. So there's two ways to do it. One's by referendum and one's by owner consent. So they've all been talking with the owner and the developer, and then we're in the exploratory process right now. So basically saying like, do we want to do this? How does it work? What's going to happen? So with an annexation, you have to agree to provide city services
Correct.
to that property. So we were talking last night, kind of like an adoption. You're adopting this piece of property and saying that you can provide all these services for it. So the first thing we did is we went to the city commission last month and just told them that this is out there. You know, do you want us to explore it? And they said yes. Now we're back before you today, basically asking that same question. Do you want us to explore this further? The city commission's already said yes. The next step here would be we have to provide a plan of services. Mm-hmm. Kate, Rodney, Philip, everybody's been working together to put this plan of services in a rough draft form. I'm not sure if they're ready to talk about that yet, but in any event, the way I see this process going would be that the staff gets the plan of services ready, and then we bring that back to this commission, the planning commission, to look at the plan of services and say, do you make this right? Do you want to recommend that the city commission pass this plan of services? You would also, at the same time that you're looking at that, look at the zoning for this property that's not yet annexed. Now, that seems a little backwards, but the logic would be that you don't want to annex the property and then fight about what's going to be on it later. So we'll go ahead and have all that worked on together. And so a recommendation from this board would say, yes, we like this plan of services, and we recommend this zoning for this piece of property. And then it would go to the city commission, and then there's a very specific process for them, but it looks a lot like a rezone. Yeah, so it comes here, and then it goes to them one time, and then they put a special notice in the paper, and they send special notice to everybody. Then we have a public hearing on the plan of services and a public hearing on the zoning. And if both of those pass, then we've got a new property with a zone attached to it already, a zoning attached to it already.
And like any rezone, we're sending notices out to the people that live in that area.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have a lot of discussion on this board tonight, other than it's going to be turned back to the city commission where it's favorable or non-favorable.
Right.
More
So
for our benefit to understand it.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's just a starting up process.
yeah, we as a staff are not ready
Right.
to present to you a plan of services
Right.
that we really are comfortable
Yeah.
with. So we've got drafts going. Will and I have talked a lot because annexation should be contiguous.
That's what I was wondering how that
Supposed to
works.
connect. Okay, so this one doesn't connect without annexing the road. And so there's a way that we can annex it without doing that, but it requires some extra steps. And honestly, nobody does it that way. So I'm having a hard time finding, something I'm really comfortable with. But we could also annex the road, and Will can probably speak to. I know he can speak to that better than me because I've asked him 100 questions on it. But so next step with y'all would be we would come back next month with a plan of services and a zoning recommendation for y'all to consider.
So tonight would basically be a deferral to next month.
Tonight is really just so you have this information.
Tonight was put on by the city, and then the owners are here, and I'd love for them to just give you 2 minutes of what their plans are with it if we take the next step. That we have done our homework with the plan of services. Water, sewer, gas is there. The electric is there. We have a letter from Al Kirstein's on what they can provide. I think all of it's going to work together as we go forward. We're just a little bit too soon on it. I don't know if you wanted them to present anything.
Let me ask the question here. Are we not rezoning what's already, annexation on what's already there?
But there's no zone there because it's not city yet.
Where is
I
city?
understand the
That's
city
what I
goes to
like.
where you
is
turn into
city?
the sewer
Somebody
plant,
tell
correct?
me exactly
Yes,
where
on the right
we
side.
are.
On the left side, I think there's a few houses that are not city on the left side.
43.
Uh-huh. Right. I know exactly where we are. I just don't know what's city and what's not.
Yeah, it's right there where you turn into sewer.
Right
plant.
here is where this city limit stops. At the wastewater plant where you turn.
On both sides of the street?
So everything in blue is what you're looking to
It's on the right
annex,
side of the
right?
street. You're looking up through here.
So it's that where that dot is below on the right.
Yes.
But none on the left that we're seeing
No,
in this
no,
picture.
not till you get back to right here. It kind of cuts across through, some weird
Gotcha.
line through there.
So I did have a conversation with Van Bushers this morning with the highway department, and he says that he struggles with everything Columbia is doing because they're doing a lot of annexations and they're not contiguous and they're not taking the roads in, and that leaves a huge problem for him that they're building these subdivisions and they don't address the roads.
Right.
And I just said that we'll work with you. We're going to make sure the roads are going to be right, regardless of whose responsibility is, because it has to be right.
It's a hard road.
Yeah.
I drive it every day. And It's narrow and
So we would talk about that. Rodney and I talked about like a traffic study, but I think we could work with the county on the best way to get that done. Just in my conversations with Van this morning, but
Why would we not? And I know you probably got the answer for it and the reasons behind it, but you got this area off here that you shake. Why not do both sides if you're going to annex?
because we haven't had a request from the owner to annex it.
I mean, if those people wanted to join in, like, we could ask if they wanted to join in on annexation, but the blue property right now is all owned by one owner.
I understand that, but and of course I'm talking years ago, they got into this where they annexed one side of the road and they didn't annex the other side.
And you pay
you're
for that.
providing services this side and in reference to the fire department, well, you gonna come down here and put a fire out, and how come you're not gonna come put my fire out because I'm across the road,
And Columbia made those mistakes for a long time, and they're still paying for that. But honestly, if there's a police or fire issue, we're going to be there.
I'm not saying not saying that, but I know years ago it became an issue.
It's all mismatched. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you?
But the legal way to do
know
it
what I'm
now.
saying?
I do.
Yeah, who do you dispatch where,
Yeah. So the legal way to do it now, after talking with Corey, is basically if the owner is asking for it, and that's why we're going with
Yeah,
that.
like I
route.
say, this person I've seen
can't force
normally
it.
they're against it. Yeah.
But even with the owner asking for it, Kate, we're annexing that property, but the houses in front of it is not going to be.
Correct. And they want the utilities that we have to provide, and they're there.
Wouldn't it be easier to offer to the people in front of them too?
We can offer it, but what you're
No,
going
they
to find is
don't
they
pay
don't want it. They don't want to pay
They
taxes.
don't want to pay the tax.
They don't want to pay the taxes.
So they don't want
their
it, and you
services,
can't do
but
an
they don't wanna pay the
adversarial
taxes.
annexation.
Those properties in front are already getting the utilities besides sewer up.
Yeah.
Already.
They're getting their water customers already.
And
And they're probably happy not to be on the sewer.
Exactly. So that's the best way that we can do it, and we think it's going to be a neat development. And again, Jay,
Well,
you want to
maybe
say
it's time
something
to hear
about?
that.
I'm not against it. I'm all for the development stuff, but I think they're opening up a can of worms right there when you
It's
got
strange.
a spot over here you're doing, you're not doing this right here, and
But
down.
that isn't that how kind of the law has changed in the last couple of years?
Well, so there's the two ways. There's what we're talking about today is a resolution, annexation by owner consent, owner request. The other one is a referendum.
you just put on.
That's a vote of the people.
So,
Not going to happen.
So this is the.
But years ago, they could just go in and annex it.
Yeah, it was like eminent domain.
Cherry pick.
Yeah, right. And we run into that a lot right here and stuff. But,
Remember Saturn and George?
But this is also in our urban growth boundary.
right.
And this is in the part, the purpose of the urban growth boundary was if Mount Pleasant were going to expand, this is where it would likely expand.
Yeah.
So it's within that growth boundary. The only, the real issue we've run into is the contiguous.
Yeah, it seems so weird.
I'm just
They're not
I guess what I'm looking at is they got the property back.
A Duck River.
They're on Duck River, but with the number of houses that they're proposing, they would be on Mount Pleasant Power.
Okay. No, I meant the ones that's already there. They're on Duck River, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All the way up to like 2 houses from there, yeah. But that would, the way their agreements work between Duck River and Mount Pleasant, because of the number of houses, they would take those back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The way that Al's explained it. And that'll all be in the plan of services. That would all be outlined and be clear that you would see at a later time of how the power system would.
Okay, well, I thought we talked about that from them in all of it on my Pleasant Power, okay.
You guys want to see it? We've got
We'll
here.
we'll listen to it, but you know, we,
I told them today that the process is kind of new to us, and
And that's fine. I mean, we really like it. I'm Jay Jose with Harpers Valley Homes, and with me is John Claxton with Thomas and Hutton, and they're the land planner and the engineer that we're using to help us plan with this. And so this opportunity first came to us of Mr. Johnson. We got connected with him and started talking about his vision for what he had done along the road, and then what he was planning on doing, you know, to the interior. And this is what we do, and pretty excited about it because one, we love the opportunity that it brings to Mount Pleasant, and two, you know, it really is a unique opportunity to not only help grow this community, but to continue to you know, provide great communities for just the community at large. And when we first took this property, we looked at taking it through just the normal Murray County process. And when Kate and Keith reached out to us and said, "Hey guys, we want to talk to you because of the services, particularly the water service, and being able to provide that." Great news. You know, we'd love to do that, and certainly because now it really pulls us into the city, and that's what we want, because we can identify ourselves as being a community of Mount Pleasant. And so when we took a look at this opportunity and laid it out, met with them, talked about the services from sewer to water, what we could do there, and really explained our vision to them with some of the streetscapes, a couple different house sizes and types, really creating great communities. And it was something that we got excited about and can't wait to really be involved with that. So if there's any particular questions about it, I'm just happy to address those. But for me, it's just something that I'm passionate about.
what's that picture we got up here?
So that's the layout of the community. There's 2 entrances. We've seen that on the parcel map already. That shows an initial street layout. The areas in yellow are the areas that we're proposing homes and residences in. There's an amenity area that's there's sort of a natural drainage and we believe to be a identified stream that's going to go through there. But at the head end of that is we're proposing to put our amenity center, which will be a couple of like pickleball courts or something like that. It seems to be the popular thing these days, as well as with the density that we're planning in here, which will be somewhere north of 150 homes. They'll definitely support a pool and something that the community can really rally around. So that's our plan in that area. And then there's a power line easement that sort of cuts off the corner, but we haven't determined if we're showing some residences that are on the other side of that, but usually we start cutting those things as we get through there and really getting into the final design of the community, because we like parks, we like green space. We included a buffer around the community, just to create some additional buffering space between that and the property lines, and just something that people love to live in. Materials for the homes, we like a mixture. It's not all one type, so we look at different sizes, shapes, materials, everything from fiber cement siding to brick, combination thereof, different architectural designs. We like to use substantial yard trees so that mature quickly, so that they're not so it doesn't look, because that, as you guys know, that is it's planted in crops most of the time, and they're going to run hay on it this year. But it's we'll need to establish some pretty quick growth on some of the trees there. So we use hardwoods, things like that. We don't use the ornamentals that much, and just because they don't last. And but we use the bigger hardwoods when we start them off so that they mature quickly.
okay, appreciate it. Any
Thank you.
questions from the board?
So the next thing is just to send it on to the planning commission to send it on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that we need action from y'all tonight, because there's no plan of services to look at. There's no Have you looked at the zoning? Like, what zoning are you?
R2, it gives us sort of it allows us to do the two different types of houses, from some of the smaller ones that you see that are front entry to, and then we can always expand that and do the side entry at the same time in some of the bigger lots. And we'll place those around the perimeters. Will typically be one product size, and then we'll cluster, in different areas of the community, the smaller ones. And so it just gives a diversity of price points. We see multi-generations living in the same communities, which is really exciting to see, and people, love that.
You're good. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's no action by the board tonight, so.
It'll just be on the commission's agenda.
Yeah.
Right.
It affects the plan of services and the zoning recommendations.
Yeah. That ought to be interesting.
Yep.
Really interesting.
First for me.
Yeah. We'll move on. I can say a lot, but I won't. Number 8, site plan request.
Yes, sir. Before you tonight on PC 051022 site plan 1, applicant Ben Everell has submitted a site plan for property located at 1427 North Main Street, being further identified on the tax map 126 parcel 003.04 and on file at the Murray County Register of Deeds. This is being proposed for future build out of a warehouse space concerning Landmark. This property, as everybody knows, is Landmark Tile up here on North Main Street. They're proposing a warehouse addition of a little over 400,000 square feet. So this is a site plan that is before you tonight. We have had a few comments. They have sent letters back. They've answered most all the comments to everything that we had commented from Will and myself in this office. The engineer is here. If you want to ask any questions to them, I'm more than happy to answer them.
So everything's in compliance with your office?
Yes, sir.
As far as your.
And there's in front of the BZA last night.
Yeah, it is after the BZA.
Right.
They're not
Yeah, I've
building
looked at it,
any
and they're building out and stuff.
That's the picture in front of you, so you get an idea. They're putting
Right.
the building directly in front of it.
It's coming towards 43.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. So, any discussion from the board?
Like I said, the next thing we'll put before you will be construction plans of all that, as far as
Correct.
everything, that's how they're going to do it and everything. So
It is going on top of our existing sewer line, and we're working around that to replace the sewer line and bring it out towards North Main. To the idea was always for future growth, and because the building is going on top of the existing sewer line, that has to be moved. But I think we're all in agreement on the next steps on that.
Yeah. I know that became a big issue for us one time out there when they first built that plant. A huge issue.
Yes, a $500,000
Yeah.
issue. Yeah.
Any discussion from the board? Not entertaining motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the site plan change for Landmark.
I have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, old business.
there are none, Mr. Chair.
Number 10 is other business. I believe it's to you or Chief A.
I will, it's the MTS recommendation for turning South Walnut into a one-way street. I will let Chief A speak to that.
But they have the report, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
How y'all doing?
we're doing fine.
Fine, how are you, Chief?
I apologize. I told y'all last time I was up here, it's my last one way.
I remember that. I didn't forget.
So, my department received a request from planning about looking at South Walnut, about it being too narrow for two-way traffic.
Right.
So we contacted MTAS, same guy, John Clarkson, came down. We rode over and measured it, and our widest part of South Walnut is 15 feet. And it has a 90-degree turn, a blind 90-degree turn,
Right.
actually. So MTAS and myself have decided that we need to turn South Walnut into a one-way street, coming from First Avenue and exiting onto Locust.
Correct.
Okay.
What's the width that we wanted the streets?
So it has to be about 20 feet
Okay.
to do two ways.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's about a narrow street.
It is narrow, yes. There's several residents on that street, so we'll send out letters.
Right.
If we get through the planning commission, letting them know that we're looking at turning it into a one-way street. And it is up to them to move their mailboxes if it passes. But
Right.
So depending on what you decide to do, it would go in front of the commission and need 2 readings to become an ordinance to change it, but it comes through the planning commission first.
And as usual, if it passes, we'll give them 30 days. We'll put signs up. We'll put bags on the signs. We'll send out letters that it passed, so we don't make it a surprise. So.
For the people sent notice for this meeting, but they just will have notice for the next.
No, it's for the next.
The notice is in the paper for this meeting in it, but they don't get individual mailed to their house.
Not that way. Yeah.
Good.
We've got them ready to go. They'll go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
This doesn't affect the
Townhouses
development that's going on.
No.
right
It actually
now.
helps it.
I think the way they fixed it.
The way
was gonna-
it wasn't going to work, I don't think, without it.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Any further discussion from the board? Not, I'll look for, entertain a motion for a recommendation to the council.
I make a motion that we change South Warren Street to a one-way street for the safety of the city and the community.
I have a motion.
A second.
A second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 11, board and staff comments.
There are none.
I have no citizen comments. I look for a motion for adjournment.
I'll give it to you.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye. Carries. Thank y'all. Thank you everyone for attending tonight.